Let it go, my friend. Why do you carry things that are dragging you down and weighing you down? Today, I'll share with you a story that shows us what we need to do, why we carry the things that are unimportant and doing nothing but dragging us down. There was a gentleman who lived in a tiny little town. Yet inside this town, they had a beautiful little park. And every day, the man would go and walk around the park. He was keeping his strength up. He didn't go that fast. Many people passed him by. But one thing that people all noticed for sure, the older gentleman had a backpack that was so old, many people wondered how it even stayed together. But as time went on, that backpack seemed to be getting heavier and heavier. Now you may say, well, how did the people know that? Because the gentleman was slowing down, his steps were getting much shorter. He was breathing harder, he was having to take more breaks. So they said, I wonder what he has in that backpack. What is he putting in there that is weighing him down so much? But people just walked by. Nobody took the time to ask until one day a young walker came up to the man and he was on his break and he said, "Sir, do you mind me asking you a question?" He said, "No." He said, "What do you have in that backpack? Do you have lunch? Do you have water? I just don't understand. It seems that your backpack is getting heavier and heavier." The old man looked at him and said, "Well, why does it seem like that?" He said, "I see you taking more breaks. I see you going slower. So I just figured that it's getting much heavier." The older man just smiled and looked at the young man and said, "Son, there's nothing new going in this bag. I've carried this same backpack for years and years. I haven't even opened it in a while. I just carry it around." Well, you can imagine the young man was quite confused and he said, "Well, sir, I really don't understand, but thank you for sharing with me." And the young man went on. The older gentleman continued his walk that day, but as he walked, it really began to get in his spirit. I wonder what people are seeing that I am not. I didn't know I was slowing down that much. I didn't realize I was taking more breaks, but they must be. So as the older gentleman went home that evening, it began to continue to resonate inside of him. He said, "I'm going to open up that backpack and see what's in there," because he had actually forgotten what was in there. That evening he sat down. It had been a long time, but he opened it up. He began to take things out. He began to look and see what was inside there. Here there was old notebooks filled with regrets of things that he didn't complete. Letters from people who had wounded him and said hurtful things about him. Newspaper clippings reminding him of his failures throughout his life. He even had some keepsakes in there, broken keepsakes from relationships that were no longer even around. The people were long gone. The gentleman began to look at the things and he said, "Well, nothing in this backpack is useful anymore." The man began to ask himself, "Why do I carry this every day?" The next morning he returned to that trail and he was walking and people noticed he was going much faster. What had happened? What was going on? Had the man become stronger all of a sudden? Was he taking a new vitamin? What exactly had happened? Nobody seemed to know exactly what was going on. But the older gentleman realized that the only thing he had done different was because he had taken out things that he was carrying along that he did not need to. He had lightened his load significantly. And now he could walk faster. His journey was easier. Well, you see, today many of us do the same thing. We carry yesterday's failures. We carry things around, even people, disappointments that we had spoken to not in a long time. But yet you convince yourself they're a part of who you are. But they are not. All these things that you carry around, all this weight is nothing but uselessness that weighs you down. And I'll tell you a little secret. Weight always slows your journey and makes the trip much harder. It is time to realize it's not always about gaining something new. It's not always about adding something new to your life. Growth is about being able to release things that do nothing but hurt you. Now you would say, oh, that's great, but is that going to change the path ahead? Is my path all of a sudden going to become much less difficult? It could, but it may not. But the important fact is, my friend, that if you lighten the load of the things you've been carrying, your trip will become much easier. You're no longer dragging around things that do not help you. You're no longer carrying things that only bother you and cause you to miss significant opportunities. Wouldn't it be wonderful just to let them go and feel what life feels like without toting around all that weight? I know it will. Remember this as you walk life's journeys today. You can't control what's going to happen in the future. You can't change the circumstances that you will deal with. But you do control how tough your journey is by what you carry. My friend, let that old junk go today. Just let it go.